UFC 303 McGregor versus Chandler was looking weak. It needed something extra, and now Dana White has just gone on social media to make some huge announcements that are going to add a ton of value to UFC 303. I'm going to let Dana White say what those announcements are, and then we're going to go through them one by one and break them down in today's video. Take it away, Dana White.
What's up, guys? Couple of announcements. UFC 303, McGregor versus Chandler. I'm sure you saw it yesterday. It was announced Jamal Hill versus Carlos Ulberg is the co-main event.
I heard of this. Already spoke about this. That was announced yesterday. I don't think this is the co-main event anymore. And I'm going to let you know why when Dana White makes this second announcement.
We are also adding undefeated 14-0 welterweight Ian Garry.
Now, I know what you're going to say. It's against Colby Covington, right? Unless Colby's an absolute duck. It's against Colby Covington, right? But let it play.
He is going to be taking on the number 13 ranked Michael Venom Page.
Arguably as cool of a matchup. Now, we were hearing rumors that MVP wouldn't be able to make weight in that time, and I think Buckley even said that he was going to fight MVP and heard something, and Ian Garry mentioned it as well, that they were going to fight here, and the dates didn't quite work out, and maybe they were going to be on the UK card. But now, we've got Ian Garry, Michael Venom Page, which I believe should now be the co-main event of UFC 303. No doubt about it. That should now be the co-main event of UFC 303. Makes all the sense in the world. But yeah, Jamal Hill, Carlos Ulberg, also a pretty good fight on that card. There's more to this announcement though. Dana White's not done yet. We're going to talk about those matchups. But Dana White's got one more announcement to make. Let's hear it.
This fight is already the largest gate in UFC history, and it is International Fight Week. So, if you haven't got your tickets, you better get them now. Next week is UFC 302 in Newark. When that fight is over, I'm jumping on a plane and I'm flying straight to Dublin, Ireland. We're holding the Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler press conference live and free on June 3rd at the 3 Arena.
Damn. Press conference in Dublin for McGregor versus Chandler. Now this is how you sell fights. These are moves that you are making to actively promote fights. And I like this. You're adding support to the McGregor card. You're giving it a worthy build-up as well. This is what we've been missing in the UFC. Pointless press conference that serve no purpose, that are nowhere near even the build-up of the fight, but they make sure that we at least have another chance to get Chandler or McGregor to throw a monster energy can at each other at a press conference. That's what sells fights, and that's what we've been missing out on. Let's go through all of these announcements, starting with Machado Garry. I can't believe he's got Machado Garry. Whatever. Ian Garry versus Michael Venom Page. Huge fight. We were really looking forward to Ian Garry versus Colby Covington. Unfortunately, Colby Covington is just a duck. Quack, quack. That guy's a duck. Ian Garry was a great matchup for him. One of the better matchups for him in the welterweight division in terms of someone who's a striker, who's not really known for their grappling. And one of the biggest fights that he possibly could have taken as well. Probably the biggest fight that could be made in the sport right now. But Colby has turned it down, obviously. He's not taken this fight on the McGregor card. Everything indicated that Colby should be fighting Ian Garry on this card. Oh well, though. You know what I mean? Oh well, he waited like 10 weeks to get his leg surgeried upon. So he's delayed himself even longer. All good. Ian Garry, Michael Venom Page. MVP is equally a sick matchup. I could see MVP beating Ian Garry. I could see MVP beating Ian Garry. I really could. I really could. The comments I'm seeing right now. He puts his wife's name in front of his. I mean, Jesus Christ. What an embarrassment. Anyway, MVP. I think he can get this one done, you know. Weirdly enough, he's got good low kicks. I know he didn't show him off against Kevin Holland too much, but maybe he realized he didn't really need him too much against Kevin Holland because Kevin Holland just didn't do anything in that fight pretty much at all. But he's got really good low kicks here against Ian Garry, so he can play that low kick game with Ian Garry. But he's also got really good blitz ability to land on the chin. And I'm telling you, man, Ian Garry just looks like he's going to get KO'd. I know he got dropped by Song Kanan, and that might be a reason why I've got that image in my mind of Ian Garry's going to get KO'd. This guy's going to get KO'd someday. I just look at his head, And the fact that his neck is wider than his head, and his neck isn't even wide. Like, I'm not saying that as in, wow, this guy's got a Chad neck. You know what I mean? I've got a huge head and a huge neck. It's not that. That's not what I'm talking about here. This guy's got a scrawny little neck, and it's still wider than his little pea head. That's a guy that's going to get chinned. So we'll see what happens here. Risky matchup. I could see Ian Garry winning. I could see him maybe being able to time it well enough with the low kicks. Neil Magny is not a guy that moves like MVP, so I don't think it's going to be as severe of an opportunity to capitalize on. But I do think that he does have some weapons for MVP to worry about. But I think this would be the time, if you're going to mix in some takedowns, do it. MVP is not a guy that likes to be on the ground. We saw him on the ground against Kevin Holland, nearly get choked out in that fight. Let's not forget it. I know I said Kevin Holland didn't really do much, but on the feet he didn't. But on the ground, he had moments where he nearly was setting up a rear naked choke on MVP. So maybe Ian Garry will show off some grappling. He's been working with Charles Oliveira. That might be a factor. But I got a feeling that MVP can find his chin. I mean, don't get it twisted. Just because he couldn't finish Kevin Holland does not mean that this guy's not a knockout artist. He is a knockout artist. Kevin Holland might have one of the best chins in the UFC. I have no idea how he took the punishment against Wonderboy, and now I'm wondering the same thing against MVP when he was getting hit with some of them spinning elbows. Either way, I can see MVP. I can see MVP getting this one. I can see him catching Ian Garry. If Song Kenan can, I believe that MVP can. And MVP's not Jeff Neal, who just doesn't even care. So, and that was still a very close fight with Jeff Neal. I know Ian Garry did better work and the cleaner work and won the fight because of it, but it was still a very close fight that went to a split decision, I believe. One judge giving it to Jeff Neal. So, really interesting stuff. Great matchup to add to the card. And just in general, this takes the card to another level. I know a lot of people hate on Ian Garry, and trust me, I do as well. His life choices are abysmal, as I say in my shed. But, you know, I know what's best. Trust me. Listen to, I'm the MMA guru. I know how to live life. Either way. Ian Garry being added to the card against MVP. This changes the dynamic of the card. First of all, the winner of this fight is probably going to get, like, a title elimination bout next. Guaranteed for them. I hope they're next for, like, JDM. Because I'm starting to worry that JDM's going to fight Sean Brady in Australia and lose. Don't do it, JDM. Because Shavkat's not fighting JDM in Australia. He needs more time. You don't want to fight in Australia. He wants to fight in September. Cowardice from Shavkat. Actively ducking JDM in Australia. All good. So I'm worried about it. So hopefully the winner of this will get a JDM, or the winner of this will get a Shavkat if JDM does take on another matchup. But this is a sick fight. Adds a ton of value to the card. And we needed this on the McGregor card, right? We've got the McGregor card, and it's literally got nothing on it. It's got Jamal Hill versus, now Carlos Ulberg. But other than that, I mean, Peyton Tabbets, there's some spotlight for people on the card, but we haven't really got that big support act. This is the support act that we needed on the card. Every card has their main event, and then they have their something else. That something else is normally a Gaethje Chandler, a Gaethje someone else, a Gaethje versus Holloway, a Gaethje versus this person. A Gaethje versus anyone is normally the support act of a pay-per-view. It used to be a Masvidal fight against Ben Askren, or a Masvidal against, someone else. Now it's Ian Garry, Michael Venom Page, the perfect support act. That'll add a ton of pay-per-view value and make people more willing to buy the pay-per-view, because people ain't going to buy things for one fight. They just aren't, especially in the UFC. They're not going to buy a pay-per-view for one fight. If they look at a pay-per-view and they see a bunch of good fights and decent fights listed throughout the card, they'll be more willing to spare with their money. I think this is a great fight to add. I'm just annoyed that Colby Covington has fucked this up, dude. Ian Garry, Colby Covington, same press conference as McGregor Chandler. You fucked it up, Colby, man. You loser, man. Honestly, dude. I used to really root for Colby, but recently he's just done nothing at all of any savagery. There's not been a savage Colby Covington moment since about 2021. Like, honestly, dude. MVP Ian Garry. Maybe this will be at the press conference as well, which would be good because they'll be in Dublin. I wonder if Ian Garry will actually get cheered. I guess we'll find out. We move on, though, to obviously this, Ulberg versus Jamal Hill. I spoke about this yesterday. I guess I'll speak about this in relevance to Ian Garry and MVP being announced as well. This is a good fight. I don't think it's the co-main event anymore. I think Ian Garry versus MVP is the co-main event. I think it should be McGregor versus Chandler main event. Ian Garry MVP co-main. This can be the feature fight, but it can also open up the main card as well. They'll probably do it as the co-main event because they are a heavier weight class and they are looking for some interest at light heavyweight. So if they get Ulberg a win in a co-main event, listen, I know I'm really overlooking Jamal Hill, but I'm thinking as like the UFC's business mind here. Hill's already lost to Pereira. They can't sell a rematch immediately just of him coming off one win, because he did get finished in the first round. Ulberg is a new name, never fought Pereira before, not a lot of history with anyone in the division. If he can smoke Hill, which is probably what the UFC wants, in the co-main event of a McGregor pay-per-view, you've all of a sudden got this name that you compare with Prohaska, like who's going to fight against Pereira next. You know what I mean? You've also got this name that you can just be like, hey, give him a title shot if Ankalaev wants to play this game of wait until October in Abu Dhabi. Like, there's a lot of moves you can make here if Ulberg gets a stunning victory. I doubt they give him a shot, but that's clearly why they're putting him in this position, to sort of get some spotlight on a potential future opponent for Alex Pereira. We move on to another announcement that was made. UFC 303 press conference. Great. Amazing. I love it. Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler. I don't know what's on this next slide. Okay, it's just a face-off between them. I thought it was going to be a list of others. So maybe it's not going to have Ian Garry and MVP on there. They arguably should put Ian Garry on there. I just want to see if he gets cheered by his own country. I really want to see that. I want to see what Irish men think about Ian Garry and some of his activities. Because I think it'd be a very funny thing if he happened to get booed there and managed to get booed off the stage and had people cheer him for MVP. You never know. Okay? You never know with the Irish. So I'd have loved to have seen Ian Garry at this press conference. I'm sure if he was fighting Colby Covington, they would have been at this press conference, but Colby's fucked that up for everyone again by not taking fights that he should do, and instead probably going to wait out for Bilal Muhammad coming off a loss, or Gilbert Burns after a year off with injury, and then he's going to sit out on his ass. I'll be a backup opponent, and then boom, he gets a title shot again a year after that. Like, it's just, I'm done with Covington. But this should be a great press conference. I know McGregor said he wasn't going to talk shit anymore. I hope he does, man. Conor McGregor in Dublin. The lights go dim. I've been over this scenario so many times, and I'll end it with this. The lights go dim in Dublin. The presser's about to start. Chandler's already up on stage. They're announcing McGregor's entrance to the press conference. He's delayed. What's going on? They're asking questions. You see a sense of panic. A sense of panic on the UFC staff members' faces. We got a 10-4. We got a rogue McGregor on the loose. And they don't know where McGregor is. Just like, whoa. All the media's flicking their lights and murmuring and asking questions. And then from above, in blackface, Conor McGregor. I don't want to skim over that blackface bit. In blackface, Conor McGregor soars down from the top of the arena that they're in for this press conference. On a zip line, on a harness, cruising in with like dove wings behind him, like he's making a magician's entrance, and he's screaming, "Adopt me, mate! Adopt me, Chandler, yeah? I'm your son! Adopt me then, mate, you mad fool! Go ahead and adopt me, mate!" That would go viral. That would be the most viral press conference moment ever. Conor McGregor coming in from a zip line. "Hey, fellas, adopt me, mate!" And he's just full camoed up on the face. Make it happen. That would go viral. That would do tens of millions of views. That would add 1 million pay-per-views buys flat just from that one moment. So, I don't know. Maybe he'll do it. Maybe he won't. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Toodle pip. I'll see you later. And goodbye. Huge announcements, though. And it's great to hear as well, because now, as I said, UFC 303 is saved. It was looking weak as hell. And now we've got a good little MVP fight. JDM, message to you. No to Sean Brady. Say no to Sean Brady. He's going to beat you. Say no to Sean Brady. You wait for Shavkat. You force Shavkat to fight in August, or you wait for the winner of this in August. No to Brady. They're trying to stall you out. No to Brady. Brady should, with his style, Brady should have to win 3 in a fucking row outside the rankings before we give him another sniff at the top 5. Fuck off. JDM, Shavkat, or JDM Buckley. Give Buckley the shot. What the fuck is Brady earned? See you later. Goodbye. Toodle pip.